Today, we see an even stronger impact of communication than ever before due to social media and much faster pace of reactions to what CEOs say. Leadership communication matters more than ever in these moments where setting a direction is particularly important.
So you were in the entrepreneurship department.
Yes, I have been doing research on language for many years, and this is part of important part for entrepreneurs to master language. This project is more on established firms innovating.
And you talk in this specific paper article that we're referring to actually about obviously a quite well-known new entrant, into a very established market, which many of us lived in person when Amazon started to sell books online, and how does it affects the competitors, and maybe you explain just a little bit what that has to do with language.
Yeah, well, when Amazon entered the bookselling industry, it created a disruption moment, let's say, for legacy competitors, Barnes and Noble and Borders, that were the dominant players in physical bookselling. And we studied the reactions of these two existing players to understand how the existing competitors adapted to this, particularly looking at the role of the CEO language and its relations to actions, to what the companies were doing in terms of implementing different strategies to compete with Amazon at that time.
We know that Barnes and Noble is still around, Borders is not. Can you give some examples of how this is relevant, and how this relates to the fact that one is still there, the other isn't?
Yeah, so what we find are differences both in terms of CEO language and actions taken by Barnes and Noble and Borders. So the communication by the CEO in the case of both companies was acknowledging the opportunity rather than the threat of Amazon. However, how they framed this opportunity to their different stakeholders was pretty different. And the following actions were also very different.
How were they different? Just to give us a little bit more detail on this.
Yes, so the CEO of Barnes and Noble was very, very consistent in terms of portraying this opportunity over 15 years of the study period as exciting for the company, as a way to lead the company into the future, a way to bring different stakeholders on board, so including publishers, writers, customers looking for new experiences in the bookselling. And this resulted also in blending the online and the physical business models in the case of Barnes and Noble. Versus in the case of Borders, the setup was pretty different. The CEO language was typically looking at online as an adjunct business, as a way to make money for the shareholders, but without integrating it into the future vision of what the company was going to become. And this also related to actions which were much less focused on integration of online and physical. Online was kept separate. At some point, it was even outsourced to Amazon, then brought back inside, but it never became an integral part of what Borders was about. And over time, the lack of this learning about the online opportunity weakened Borders' stance in the industry, from being number two to declaring bankruptcy in 2011, so 10, 15 years after the disruption started.
I think you talk about in your paper the framing of the language has to be intense, concrete, future-oriented, and inclusive. So if you think about the audience here of senior business leaders, what would you say is sort of the general takeaway for senior executives that work maybe in other sectors and in other areas?
Today, we see an even stronger impact of communication than ever before due to social media and much faster pace of reactions to what CEOs say. So I would say that sustained and consistent communication that is emotionally resonant, that is strategically aligned, with where the organization is going is key to the pretty uncertain environment we are facing right now, where we both have new technologies coming at a faster pace than before, with AI, for instance, challenging many industries, even more than the internet did 15, 25 years ago. And the future of that is pretty ambiguous, where for employees, for customers, for partners, it is not obvious to make sense of what to focus on, in which direction to head, how to interpret current events. So the CEO communication, leadership communication matters more than ever in these moments where setting a direction is particularly important. Learning from Barnes and Noble that the company managed to survive such a big disruption is inspiring in some ways for many legacy businesses today, facing big challenges, big questions about sustaining their business models. And many of the businesses will have to rethink their legacy business models with new additions. And actions without communication probably will not be enough.
Yes, so very, very clear how the framing works, how it's being explained. So the CEO language, CEO communication, as you call it, and I agree, particularly in the situation where we are in right now, where the disruption is probably even potentially be more profound with AI, more profound even than a new channel, which was online channel at the time, versus the physical in-store kind of sales. This can go in many dimensions, additional dimensions in many different ways. So I think very, very helpful. Thank you, Julia, for explaining this and for pointing out the importance of thinking it through in the right way, of course, and then being able to explain it well through the language of the CEO and the senior leadership. Thank you so much.
Great. Thank you, Franz, for your time. And it was a pleasure talking to you.